Hey folks, good morning. Troy Dooley here at Troy's Morning Coffee Reflections. It's been a great day. It's a beautiful day down here at the beach. It's cold, it's amazing, but at least we don't have 3 feet of snow like they seem to have in Washington, D.C. But the next few days we're going to be talking about men and their feelings. And this is really directed, obviously it's directed towards men, but I think the women that watch this, the wives, the girlfriends, you need to take special note of this. Because a lot of times I think what women feel is a distance, what women feel is a growing apart, is just men trying to work on their feelings. But there's also something else that I think is important that women understand. Sometimes a man will bring forth feelings, and Steve in his book talked about a guy named Dan who just loved his wife, passionately, was never been unfaithful, nothing. But a lady had started working at his office, and he had some attraction to her. And he felt uncomfortable because every time she was in the room, his heart would beat a little faster, and he got a few of those little butterflies in his stomach. And so he went home and he talked to his wife. He wanted to diffuse the situation, told his wife what was going on. They talked about it, and he wanted to include her in things. He wanted to get her help in the situation. And so he told her. And instead of her accepting what he was saying and working with it, she closed him out. She ran off to the bedroom. She cried. They became distant, and naturally what happened was he ended up having an affair with the gal at work. When things like that happen, I can pretty much guarantee you, women, that men won't share with you again. Your husband will never share his feelings. Another thing that happens is a man will come to his wife and he'll share something with her. And then the next thing you know, she's out telling her girlfriends, and all of a sudden one of his friends gets back with him and they're chatting, and he makes a joke of something important. And it's sad, but this is what happens. And I tell you why I think this is to a certain degree. I think women just love to talk. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean it's a journey, it's relaxation, it's enjoyment. They love to have their husbands or significant others looking at them and sharing this. I know my wife's that way. As a romance writer, one of the things that she enjoys doing is getting into her stories and sharing them with me. Literally, as I'm driving down the beach, I feel like I'm in her stories because she shares with such passion. To me, I don't need to talk to hear myself talk. To me, talking is a means to an end. If I'm going to tell you something, it's because let's get it out, let's talk about it, let's come to a conclusion, it's over. Plain and simple. Men and women are just God made us different. So we look at things differently. And as I was looking at how to share our feelings, what is it that we know? What is it that women need to know? One thing is that men desperately want to tell you how they feel. But men will only do that once, and if they get slammed down, if you give them a look, if you laugh at them, anything, they won't do it again. One of the reasons that we see so many affairs that take place, and in looking at the polls and looking at the stats, a man will share with his wife a sexual desire. If the wife makes fun of that desire, if she belittles that desire, if she calls him a pervert, anything like that, he'll never ask her for another thing. All of a sudden your sex life can become dull and boring, and a man may start to seek outside attractions. We see this inside the church and outside the church. So it doesn't matter if you believe in Jesus Christ or not. It happens. The affair rate's in the 60th percentile in both outside and inside the church. So we know that this takes place. I think that another thing that we see is that men won't share their feelings once a woman has already voiced her opinion. If she's been talking to a girlfriend and another man makes a statement, that's it. If she says, well, this is stupid, or this is weird, or I can't believe that he would ask his wife for that, or treat his wife that way, or whatever, you'll never see a man share his feelings. It's a trust. It's supposed to be a bond. It's supposed to be something. And see, the funny thing is, if a man was to share his wife's feelings with another man, and she found out about it, it could lead to divorce. With men, they just become hermits. They go back into their cave, as John Gray likes to say. It's something that women need to understand. Women need to understand that men are very sensitive. Even the most alpha male man will not share those intimate secrets if he feels like he's been hit, if there's been a chunk of the armor that's been taken out. So as we move into the next few days and we talk about different things, I want the women and the guys checking this show out to understand that there's things that you have to be able to do. There's deep personal feelings that we're probably afraid to admit. There's things that have happened in our life we're afraid to admit. Don't cut your wife off just because she may not understand. She may be fearful. Be cautious. I remember when Paige and I got married. Paige came from a family. Her dad had been a cop in the early years. My dad had been working for organized crime in the early years. You can see we came from two different backgrounds. When she met some of my family, it freaked her out. Well, I realized what that was, and we had to come to a compromise. We didn't go to many family reunions, to say the least. Over the years, because we've learned to communicate, it's better. It's not perfect. I guarantee you, I'll be straight up honest. There are things that I do not share with Paige because she has made her point so clear in what her background is that I just don't bring it up. I hold them inside. I write myself in my journal. Journals are great, men, for you to do that. Keep them hidden. Keep them private. Sometimes you'd have to explain stuff that you're writing down. But that's those inner feelings. You've got to have a place to release it. And women, let me tell you something. If a man can't write something down, if a man can't get it off his back, then he may end up in the arms of another woman. And that's what we don't want to see happen. I have a men's accountability group every Thursday. We share just about everything. There's certain things that obviously we keep private because we don't even feel safe enough within that element to do that. But it allows us an opportunity. It allows us a release. It allows us to be able to go out there. And I think that's the key. Men need to be able to learn about trust. Trust is the key. See, most of us don't want to tell our intimate feelings because we don't feel like we can trust that person totally, even our wife. You're afraid. And fear is a big factor. And fear, it isn't the fear of the unknown. It's because we've tried a little bit, ladies. We've shared a little bit, and then we've been slapped trying to share those details, sharing our fears, sharing our frustrations, sharing desires, sharing fantasies, what we, anything. I don't care what it is. If there's even the slightest hint of rejection from our spouses or our girlfriends, we'll never do it again. Think about that one, ladies. Think about that. How have you built trust with your husband? How have you really dug deep to let your husband know that there's nothing he could share with you that would change the way you love him, change the way you feel about him? Because if you can't do that, if there's anything that he could share, now I'm not talking about if he had an affair and that's a hurtful thing. I'm talking about if he has an attraction to another woman, if there's a desire, anything whatsoever, I don't care how remote, how little, or how big. If he does not feel, if you've made it to where he does not feel he can trust you, you need to start working on that. It's very important, because when a man takes the initiative to reveal some of his feelings, some of his fears to his wife, if she passes that information on, if she cuts him down, anything, I can guarantee you that bridge will go up. He'll never do that again. Analyze it. Learn to communicate. Learn to be passionate with one another. And ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, the more intimate feelings, the more times that you just snuggle and let him talk, the more times you make love, the more times that maybe you're just in the bedroom, buck naked, laying on the bed, watching TV. I don't care what it is. Men need that closeness of your body. I'm not just talking about in a sexual way. I'm talking about just the closeness. It's amazing what a kiss can do and how a kiss can set those endorphins off and cause closeness. I'll tell you what, a little secret, and this is from the bail bond days. The reason most professional call girls never kiss the man they're with is because they understand that kiss is saved. That kiss is something special, and they never want to feel that way towards the Johns that they're working with. Very raw, very uncut, but very true. Folks, get together, work on this. Listen, live life like it's an epic adventure. We'll see you at the top.